And we are live with a book and a beverage with everyone's favorite wizard, Andrew the Wizard. How are you tonight?
I am doing okay. I'll try and be boisterous and energetic. I'm a little tired. It's been a work day, but we'll get it done.
Okay, well, so far we have 0 people watching, so there's no pressure.
It's fun.
But for those people who watch later, we're doing this for you. So I have questions. I have like a whole list that we hopefully don't have to go through.
Oh my, you typed it out?
Work, I have to pass my time somehow.
I'll try and answer them as best as I possibly can.
Okay, well, we're going to start with a speed round.
Okay.
So no looking these up, just best guess answers.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, they're easy. Don't worry.
Okay.
Favorite genre outside of science fiction or fantasy?
My favorite genre probably thriller or horror.
And how many DNFs do we have so far this month?
2.
Okay. This one might hurt. What is the number of current open series that you have that you've started and not finished? Ballpark figure.
30, 35.
Okay, is that just in hard or in physical, or is that Kindle too?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't counted.
Okay. About on an average day, how many hours do you spend reading?
8.
We have a couple viewers now. John is here.
Yes.
And in an average week, how many hours do you spend editing your videos?
2.5.
That's per week?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. Ro was sandbagging me, telling me it's so hard to edit and that it was unfair and everything. And
it depends. It depends on what you want to do.
He's not here to defend himself, so I can say this now.
Yeah, you can say that. But like, if you really want to go hard on the editing, yeah, you're gonna use a lot of time editing. If you just kind of cut out the fumbles and the stumbles, then it goes a lot faster.
And yes, John, yes, he did.
Yeah.
It makes me a little jealous. But anyway.
Don't get jealous. Don't get mad, get glad. Let's have some copyright infringement.
All righty. So, yeah, John is already probably jealous of you.
I've been doing it for 3.5, almost going on 4 years. So
wow,
I'm used to the grind of the March of 2021 is when I started my channel.
Nice.
And so I've gotten better at just remembering where I've stumbled, and then I can kind of listen for it, cut it out, and then marry the two together to make it sound pretty good.
Yeah. Well, John will be here listening at least.
Hey, I appreciate you, John.
So, question I want to ask you is the 5-star rating system.
Yeah.
Is there something better, or is that just really the best we're going to get?
I've heard rumblings of something called Cawpile. I've never used it.
I've seen it. I'm not a fan, but
there's 10 out of 10. There's, Evie's got this one of Sparking Joy. Like, she'll hold up a book on Twitter and take a picture of it and just tell you, I liked it. And she doesn't do anything else.
I've seen a couple of people use Cawpile for my books, which it's fine, but you get so many points for your setting, so many points for characters, and I can read a book that's character driven that I'm like, I love this thing because the characters are amazing, and the setting might be non-existent, and am I going to take off 20% because I'm like, not every book is going to deliver 100% on everything, because then it's going to be overwritten in 1,000 pages to get all that in. So I don't know. I always think like you have to make choices. You have to pick something over another to focus on.
I've never used the Cawpile system. I've thought about it, and then there's people who take Cawpile and make it their own. I know. Yeah. I think Dominish over at Dominish_books, he has done something similar. He uses Cawpile, but he's tweaked it.
Yeah. So
it's all subjective.
This is a book and a beverage, so I should probably ask you, do you have a book that you'd like to shout out about?
Oh, yeah, Lord of the Shattered Land. I'll scream from the rooftops about Lord of the Shattered Lands. It's so good. It reinvents sword and sorcery. It blew my hair back. Oh no, don't drop books. Don't do that. I hate dropping books. But this one right here,
Nice.
I loved this book. I love it so darn much. I'm reading book number 2 next month, and then book number 3 should be out in like October, I think. And that's been sitting on my shelf for about 1.5 to 2 years, and I'm just not getting to it. I feel bad, but at least now I've gotten to experience it, and I really love it. Nico, for months, has been harping on me to read it. And he's like, you're going to love it, you're going to love it, you're going to love it. And at that point, it just became a running joke that I wasn't going to read something Nico really wanted me to read because I like to torture him.
Yep.
And finally, like, I was like, okay, fine. Like, I need something to read, and I guess I'll try this out and make Nico happy. Either I like it or I DNF it really fast, and I ended up falling in love with it.
Ugh. So how many books have you read so far this month?
This month?
Yeah.
4.5.
4.5. You DNF 2. Okay. That's
I'm 10% into another one. I'm 13% into another.
okay. So DNF is not super heavy this month.
No.
Good month.
I've stripped out a bunch of those books that I think I'm going to end up DNFing out of my collection. I don't have a lot left. I am sometimes said to be the king of the DNFer.
Yes.
John.
So I want to ask you this. Do you see any trends in science fiction and fantasy? Like, is Grimdark still holding steady? Is that starting to fade? Cozy? Is it still there? Romantasy, everyone's talking about, is making a big splash.
Romantasy and cozy are surging right now. Dark fantasy and grimdark fantasy are still coming out, but not as prevalent, especially in the traditional sphere. It's just like every time I watch like fantasy news on Daniel Green, it's always like a cozy cover reveal that he's talking about. Like recently, there's been a lot of them. There's still regular fantasy. I know Z.S. Diamante just released a classic fantasy. So, I mean, there's all sorts of flavors out there that are still coming out. But right now, the ones that are surging are romantasy and cozy. In fact, I was getting my hair cut a couple days ago, and they tried to talk to me about ACOTAR. As soon as they heard I like books, they're like, ooh, I like romantasy. And I was like, cool, good for you. Not my thing, but
yeah. Oh, so do you think traditional is just chasing after what was hot, or is it still in the indie space? Are people really still doing lots of cozy and romantasy?
There's some cozy. I don't follow the indie romantasy scene. I know it's there.
Right.
It's just kind of walled off. I don't really interact with it all that much.
Yep.
It gets offered to me a whole lot, but yeah. I don't accept it because I'm not going to accept a book from somebody that just right out of the gate, I'm like, that's probably not going to be my thing.
I DNF'd after the back cover. Thank you.
Pretty much. I was just like, thanks for the offer. Nah, not right now.
Fair. Let's see. Next question. Oh, I got some decent questions this time. I like to use ChatGPT, so I had it writing out 40 questions, and I got rid of 27 right off the bat, and then the rest I had to rework to try to make them reasonable. But for me, that's good for ChatGPT. 13 out of 40. So I'm not too worried about taking over writing space yet. So what character types draw you in fantasy or sci-fi?
Oh, that's a hard question. So, like, I like clever individuals, but I don't like smug clever. I like honorable people. I like people with morals. Like Matt Cotham is one of my favorite characters in Wheel of Time. The kind of just, he's the troublemaker, but also at the same time, he's got a good heart. So stuff like that. Like I'm drawn to good characters, and I tend to like if you've got a really strong negative presence on the page, I tend to shy away from those kind of books. It's not really my thing. So it's the reason I stopped reading Prince Prince of Dogs, I believe is what it was, by Kate Elliott, was the villain just made me so uncomfortable that I was just like, I don't want to read this anymore. So I don't know. I like good characters, good strong characterization with a good moral code.
So I have to say, I also like Matt, but the only wheel time I've ever experienced was season 1.
What? Okay, listen, the Matt in the books is 10 times better than what's on the show. He's not an idiot.
I haven't seen the second season 2 yet of Wheel of Time, but
It doesn't matter.
I kind of like the first season, which no one else does, but
you are entitled to your opinion. I don't share it, but you're entitled to it.
It may be wrong, but you're entitled to it.
I didn't say that. I said I don't share it.
Okay, so and the next question is, what tropes do you like or do you dislike?
I can tell you I dislike Here Comes the Cavalry. Specifically, I've seen it abused too many times. So if you use Here Comes the Cavalry 3 or 4 times in a book, it starts to annoy me. I can definitely tell you I don't like that. Enemies to lovers type of deal where like it doesn't even have to be in romantasy, because that's not just a trope that's strictly romantasy. Right. It can be done from adversaries to lovers, like I like that, but enemies to lovers, I'm actually reading Chris's book right now.
Nice.
I have Hills of Heather and Bone on my shelf. I've read another K.E. Andrews. I believe that's K.E. Andrews. Yep. I read her. I always forget it.
Of Grins and Secrets.
That one.
Yep.
And I really, really enjoyed it. That one was really well done. So that's the only reason I even considered Hills of Heather and Bone.
I got about halfway through Grins and Secrets, and it was fine. I didn't dislike it, but I just saw something shiny over there, and
I know the feeling. Trust me. I'm fighting that feeling right now, because if I let myself get distracted, I'm not going to finish Servant of the Empire. I'm going to be mad at myself.
Okay, well, John has given me a good segue, because I did want to bring this up at least some point. But if we get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, I am getting this tattoo.
I mean, I can give you a shout out in the Discord.
So tell your friends.
Tell my friends.
Yep.
Okay. If you want to do that to yourself, listen, as somebody who has tattoos, the top of my scalp sounds awful.
That's why I want a small one. But I told the people last night who were here, I was telling my friends at work, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get right here at my hairline. Like, that's not your hairline. Go down an inch. So, this is about where I was pointing.
Oh.
And they're like, no, that's not your hairline.
Further.
I do not like them. They're not my friends anymore. So I've been told, or heard from several different people, that once you start a YouTube channel that's successful, that you get the bug and you decide, you know what, I want to start a second channel and do something else.
Oh, I mean, I've considered it, but I've also just, no.
You figure you're already reading 8 hours a day and you're editing and you have a family and a job and sleep. And
I mean, what would I do it on? Like, all I do is read. I barely have, I have my favorite TV shows, but I don't have time to watch them.
Yep.
Because I've got a backlog of 300 books back here. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what I would possibly, I don't watch movies. Not really, because my kids constantly control the TV. So the only movie I watch right now is Cars. Lightning McQueen over and over and over and over and around and around and around we go.
Not Frozen? That's too old?
We do. Whenever my daughter can wrest the TV away from my son, we get a little bit of Frozen. It's either, for her, it's either Frozen or Moana or Tangled. She likes Tangled too.
I don't know what those other two are, but I've heard of Frozen.
Tangled is a Rapunzel Disney movie. And what was the other one? Moana is like a Hawaiian type of deal.
Oh. Let's see. Lilo and Stitch. That's about the last one I paid attention to, and I never saw it.
You never seen Lilo and Stitch?
I don't do animated anything anymore. About
Not even Ghibli?
the last animated movie I saw, I think, was Aladdin.
That was so long ago.
I know, like when you were born or something. I know.
I think I was 2. 2 or 4. Aladdin came out when I was very young.
Yeah, I was very young too. I was, in my 20s.
I wouldn't. That's Robin Williams. Robin Williams rocks.
Yes.
He's one of my favorite actors. Him and Jim Carrey.
So, if you could interview any author, alive or dead, who would you want to interview?
Ooh, any author. My gut instinct is to say Robert Jordan, so I could yell at him for his romance series. He wrote under the name of Reagan O'Neill or something like that. It's called The Fallon Blood, and that was just very, very, very irritating. But also because I love The Wheel of Time so much, and I would have loved to see him get to finish it. So probably my go-to answer would either be Robert Jordan or Terry Pratchett.
Okay, solid choices.
Yeah. Why not? Or David Gemmell. Ooh, David Gemmell would be a good one for me too. And Ray Bradbury. If you don't stop me, I'm gonna keep going.
That's fine.
Yeah, bring it on. Heckle.
He keeps trying to besmirch my reputation by saying that I ban him every show.
Do you?
I don't have that kind of technological wisdom to do so. But yes, he will start to heckle.
It is possible to do, just so you know.
What? It didn't sound. I don't know what's traumatizing, Tim, but I'm all for it.
Oh, the Robert Jordan, Reagan O'Neill. It's basically set in the American Revolution. And it's this Irishman who kills somebody and has to flee to the Americas. And this is right around the time of taxation without representation is a big deal. And within the first four chapters, he's slept with 2 different women and fallen in love with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's enough to stop.
And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope that you have enough wisdom to say no to this question. But have you ever thought about writing a book yourself?
Yes.
Have you got past the writing part or thinking about it?
So I took creative writing in high school. And then that just kind of went away as I moved into art. I used to draw. And then I kind of just lost the bug for it. I've always been a reader, but I don't know what I would write about. And so I don't have any bright, brilliant ideas in my head that are buzzing around waiting to come out. Like it.
See, my advice would be that you're still a young man, prime of your life. Why would you do that to yourself? Wait until you're old and bitter and you don't have anything else to do with your time. And then you can start writing.
Yeah, fair. And yes, it's the 1750s.
I was not alive then.
My family was in America then.
The first of them came in No, sorry, that's 1853. Never mind. No.
Yep.
So let's see. What do we have here? You wisely do not want to be a writer currently. Why did you start reviewing books on YouTube? What made you think this was a good idea?
I've told the story many times. I wasn't going to. I was ranting about The Witcher. I was just ranting and yelling about The Witcher and everything I thought was wrong with The Witcher, and I've been told that it could be just down to a poor translation. And then Nico from Nico's Book Reviews and Megan from Megan's Reading Revelations were just like, why don't you just hop in front of a camera and spout your opinions? And I was just like, I don't want to do that. That makes me incredibly uncomfortable. And then they were like, well, you should do it anyway. And I was just like, oh, Yeah, exactly. It started with a rant. The first 3 Witcher books are really good, and then it's just a steep decline from there on. In my opinion, if you like it, you like it, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I got kind of peer pressured into starting a YouTube channel, and then I just happened to be already known a little bit in the community, and that gave me a little bit of a jump start up.
yeah. So this next question may cause Roe to swerve off the road.
Okay.
So you might be charged with attempted murder. But
Eh.
talk to me about Star Trek captains. Which ones do you like or dislike from the series?
Ooh, okay. I really respect Cisco.
Okay.
Cisco's really good. That's Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
Picard is GOAT status. I've been watching Strange New Worlds, and I like the new actor who's doing Pike, but I don't know if I like him more than Kirk. Let's see. Who's my favorite? I've watched the most out of Voyager. Who's the dude from Enterprise? Whatever, he's not in the conversation anyway. Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, there we go, and then the original series. So of those 4, I'm probably gonna give it to Janeway. Specifically,
And Roe is now dead. He has gone on rants. If you want to get him to rant, just tell him you like Janeway and that she's wonderful or has any redeeming positive properties whatsoever.
My problem with Kirk is Kirk banged his way out of every single situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the 60s, so.
Yeah, he explored space with his crotch. Picard is a very dapper gentleman. I just never really bought his battle capabilities. He seemed like kind of like sitting on top of a horse general versus like when he would get down with the Klingons and like start doing that. And I just never believed it. I don't know if it's because he was bald. But I never believed Picard was this kind of rough and scuff sort of dude. Kirk, yes. Kirk, I can believe would go up to a Klingon and whoop his butt. But Janeway used a lot of her mind. They were lost, and she got him home.
Yep.
Yes, you believed the combat with Kirk.
So yes, if you ever talk to Roe, tell him Janeway's rocks, and he just put here.
Fine, I'll give it to Cisco. There we go. That way, Roe doesn't have an aneurysm.
No, that's what we do in our shows. We try to see who we can, aggravate the most.
Okay.
That's the whole secret behind Bald&Balding.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and he texted me and said, "All respect gone."
At least I knew some Star Trek lore.
We had one show where we had a panel. We had 3 people here, and Roe had stepped out. I'm like, okay, we're going to make Roe's head explode. So you tell everyone your favorite fictional character is Dumbledore. You tell everyone your favorite fictional character is Janeway, and you have the really hard task of saying that Jar Jar Binks has some redeeming value.
You know that there was a theory that Jar Jar Binks was a secret Sith Lord?
Yeah.
Have you heard that theory?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jar Jar got shafted. He's not the greatest character, but he got shafted.
Oh my goodness. Good thing Roe's not here. Head explode.
I mean, I was 9 when Phantom Menace came out.
Okay.
When I heard the Darth Jar Jar theory, because he messes everything up in such a way that it leads to many dark things. I don't know. I believe in Darth Jar Jar. And Darth Jar Jar we trust.
Let's see. Oh, well, if I ask you this one, that'll take the rest of the show.
Okay.
What are your all-time favorite fantasy books?
Why would you?
Just turn around and name all the ones on your shelf, and then say that's a start.
No, not all of the ones on my shelf. So you're specifically wanting fantasy, correct?
Yes.
So the most recent would be Lord of a Shattered Land. Daughter of the Empire would definitely be in that list. It's a great political fantasy.
Yeah.
Eye of the World. Take your pick within the Wheel of Time. Almost everything except Crossroads of Twilight and Winter's Heart. Pretty darn good. I love Realm of the Elderlings. I love The Hobbit. I actually prefer The Hobbit over The Lord of the Rings. Guards, Men at Arms, Feet of Clay, Night Watch, Going Postal. I'm just looking around, trying to see if there's anything that just jumps out at me. Like, there's stuff that I enjoy, and then there's stuff that I think is just absolutely masterful. I really like Dragon Mage, but I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite of all time. Dresden, Alex Varys, Iron Prince. We've got Dragonbone Chair up here. I really enjoy that. I'm being selective. Take your pick of David Gemmell.
So if I was going to read Pratchett, where should I start?
There's a couple places you could start. You could start at Weird Sisters. You could start at Guards. I think you would resonate more with the City Watch collection, but then again, that was my favorite collection. You could do Going Postal. Going Postal is masterful. Here's where I'm going to lose EL. I thought Small Gods was boring. I got about 40% into it, and I did not care. Yeah, it's literally a small god. This little turtle and this dumb friar or whatever his name is, and he's trying to take care of this little turtle, and they go on this expedition. And as soon as they left for the expedition, I shut the book and walked away. I've still got it. I'll come back to it someday. Yeah, it's true. Going Postal is so much better.
Oh, okay. So Ro has not texted me anymore, so he must have driven off the road, especially after you said Jar Jar was redeemable in some way. But
he's not the worst. He's entertainment. He's there to lighten the mood.
Hated Jar. Well, it's not fair. I hated all the movies made after the 80s.
You don't have to like Jar Jar. I didn't say he's in my top 10, but I can watch a little bit of Jar Jar and not immediately want to punch the TV.
Do you have thoughts on Harry Potter's universe? Ro likes to always ask everyone, who is the hero of Harry Potter, the series?
Neville Longbottom.
He would disagree with you, but
I don't know. I really enjoyed fair enough. I really enjoyed Harry Potter as a kid, but I haven't read the books in going on 16 years. But Harry is not really Harry is carried throughout the entire series.
So Ro contends that Snape is the ultimate hero.
Snape can eat a satchel of Richards. I understand the viewpoint, but no.
Okay. And Usman has a recommendation for you because you don't have enough to read.
Oh, good. Let's see. If Andrew is taking Rex, have you read Crown Prince by W.D. Kilpatrick? No, but I'll add it to the list. Where's my phone?
Thank you, Usman. And if it makes you feel any better, I did recommend that somebody send their novella to Usman because he will absolutely love it. It's heavy metal, fantasy, something, I don't know.
What is? Crown Prince. That's not what I was looking for. So, hold on. I'm struggling to add this to my list. Crown Prince WD 40? No. That's not what I wanted. Oh, man, I'm struggling here. Prince. Book 1 of The New Blood. Let's read this description. The future of mankind relies on the guardians of Marik. Will his sight be true, or will his impure first blood prove the ruin of us all? I'll take a look at it. I shall dive deeper later.
Let's see. So, if a new author was saying, "I'm going to publish a book here in a few months," and you were to give them any advice on what to do or not to do, what would you tell them?
Get in front of the community, but do not. There's a certain etiquette to reaching out to reviewers if you want advanced reviews. Don't just basically hire. Lately, one of the things I've been seeing is it's like a mailer where it's this very poorly worded email that basically says, "Hey, this book exists. We'd love for you to read it." And it's like, great. Your poorly worded email has not been well received. Also, if you're going to reach out to somebody, make sure they're interested in your book first. Like I get like, "Hey, I have this YA series." Great. I'm not known for reading. I do read YA, not a lot. Or, "Hey, I have this romance series. Do you want it?" Well, no, I don't. So just kind of find your people.
Do your homework.
Yeah, do your homework. Find your people. Don't just spit the book out there and hope it hits the wall.
You mean you shouldn't just put it on Twitter every day for 2 months straight?
I mean, that could work.
Do you pay attention to any of those?
Sometimes I retweet some people.
Well, it is the 30-minute mark. We're interviewing EL tomorrow, and we're assuming that he's just going to disappear midway through.
Hey, whatever happens, happens.
Then I get a PDF. Ugh.
Yeah, don't send me an e-copy in PDF format. I don't want to format it. I don't want to do anything other than sideload it onto my Kindle if that's what you're going to do. And it's just...
So EPUB or nothing.
EPUB.
And do most people just send you ebooks, or do they send you physical copies? Or
I used to get physical copies. I've kind of stopped that now. A, because shipping prices are getting outrageous, and B, like there seems to be an expectation if you're going to send me your physical book that I'm going to read it without ever having DNF'd it. And if I DNF it, then there's like some sort of etiquette of what to do with said physical copy book, because I don't want to keep it on my shelf. I've got limited space. What do I do with it? Can I sell it? Can I donate it? Do I have to do a giveaway? Do I throw it in the trash? Do I donate to a small library? There's all sorts of stuff that just goes into it that I don't really want to mess with anymore.
Yeah, fair. And EL wants to know, what about audiobooks?
I have 4 or 5 Spotify audios that I've just got sitting on my Spotify account. I'll get to them someday.
So I will tell you, EL's book, Era of a Flawed Creation, absolutely loved it.
On audio?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he does the audio. I shouldn't tell you this because I don't like to compliment people when they're present, because then they'll like expect it more often.
I mean, EL, if you want me to DNF, I'll DNF it, and I'm happy to oblige. Yeah. Yeah, so I do have a physical copy of John's book, and I am planning on reading it. I've actually got it right up there. I know exactly where it's at. It's coming up here soon, hopefully this year. But yeah, I'm excited to read what is it? Black Crown. I almost said Iron Crown, and then I was like, that's somebody else. Black Crown. There we go.
So, let's see. Are there any fantasy releases coming out that you're dying to get to?
Say what? Fantasy releases?
Yeah.
Oh, probably. I mean, I just got Janie Wertz's new book, Song of the Mysteries. And then I've got Stephen Arian's Blood Dim Tide is coming out. I'm very excited for that. That's a sequel to where is it? I don't know. My brain just went blank as soon as I went to it. My brain reached for the title and it just went no. I just got my pre-order for Hell for Hire and The Night by Will White. I got those. So a bunch of my stuff is just coming in already. So, I mean, I think Andrew D. Meredith has book 4 with ARC readers right now for his Collation Saga. I'm very excited for that, especially after I listened to his Quaint Creatures audiobook that he narrated himself.
Yep.
And he did a very good job on that one. He's getting better and better and better with his craft. Tori Tekken she's working on Tori Talks. She's working on her next books right now. I'm excited for those. Pretty much if I have an ongoing, no, that one's already been released. I was going to say Fleet Champions by Rob J. Hayes, but I have the ebook already. Yeah, I don't know. Thousand Li by Tao Wong.
So EO wants to know what's the coolest cover out so far this year and ever.
And ever. I mean, I am partial to Daryl K. Sweet as a cover artist, and or who's that guy that Felix Ortiz? There we go. I'm very partial to Felix Ortiz as cover artists. In terms of coolest cover this year, heck if I know. Like, you mean book I've read this year or released this year?
Whichever one is more difficult to answer, he wants that one.
He wants that one. Let me see. Give me a second to drink. That didn't help at all. I'm going to say I really like Howling Dark's cover. Oh, EL, it was a cool cover. I just DNF'd it. I just DNF'd it. I couldn't get past the mushroom theme. It was just very heavy on the mushroom theme. It was well written, but just not my cup of tea. But that's a Felix Ortiz cover, so my point stands.
Okay.
You would think that this is a tasty beverage, but I got put on a diet, so I can't have alcohol right now, so this is kombucha. So technically, this is lightly alcoholic because it's a fermented tea.
We're not going to ask John what kind of mushrooms.
Whatever John does in his free time is his business, okay?
This is true. So what book or books do you think is better on the second read?
On the second read. I don't do a lot of rereading, so that's actually a very, very difficult question.
Why? Do you have
I could answer this because I hated it the first time through, and now I'm 60% through the book, so I guess this one.
Okay. I still think that was better than the Rift War saga, but
yeah. And yes, EL, some kombucha is gross. This one's actually pretty darn good. It is tangerine and passion fruit.
Okay, I have never had kombucha.
It's an acquired taste. The first time you drink it, and then the more you drink it, your brain just learns to like it.
Kind of like beer.
Yes.
Okay.
I used to make beer.
I tried. I made a lot of vinegar.
Oh, that's just honestly, you either got bacteria within your batch, or your equipment wasn't sanitized enough.
I was also in my 20s and in Florida, so you know.
Yeah, that's fair. Hi, Catherine.
One of our favorite people. One of my favorite beta readers. because she patiently reads the dren that I give her, and she gives me positive feedback, and then tells me everything that needs to be fixed.
Oh, fair enough.
So, let's see. So, how do you stay objective when you're reviewing books from authors that you like or dislike?
I mean, it's all subjective. So, I mean, it's all my taste, my mood. I've DNF'd books from JCM Byrne, who I love. JCM Byrne, he's my boy, and I've straight up been like, yeah, this isn't working for me. I've put down books by Stephen Aryan multiple times. So just because I have a favorite author doesn't mean you get a pass. Robert Jordan, it was my all-time for 20 years, and I still hate Crossroads of Twilight.
Does it get difficult when you're reviewing friends' books?
Yes, and so like whenever I'm asked to be a beta reader, there is an inherent stress that I go through because I'm giving brutally honest feedback, and it's just like, okay, like, I know you've worked really hard on this. You put your blood, sweat, and tears. You've sacrificed family time. You've sacrificed sleep. You put all this work in there, and I'm telling you that this and this and this and this and this doesn't work. And I know that that's something that the author needs to hear, so that if it's something that does need to be fixed, or if I'm just interpreting it wrong, or whatever, but that's still very hard for me to do. Thanks, John.
So I will tell you, I have Roe as my line editor, and I can't tell you a number of times to get, dude, what the hell are you even doing here? Stop that. And I mean, that's exactly the feedback I want. If you try to be subtle, it's just, there's no hair to here to stop it. So it's just going to go right over.
It's going to go straight.
Yeah.
The aerodynamics, it has no way to stop it.
It'll touch and skin and go on. Yeah. So I very much love this is wrong. It's stupid. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Or,
I've been a beta reader, I think 4 or 5 times now. And then there are times where, like, there have been books that I've absolutely loved that have been out for 3 or 4 months, and I'll pick it up. I'll take it out of the box. I'll start reading it, and I immediately start messaging the author with all the stuff that got missed. And the good thing about indie is they have the files still, and they can go in and they can just update the manuscript.
So Nico did that to me. He read Desperate Dispatches, and he's like, so Mike, by the way, chapter 7 is Jailbreak Part 2. Chapter 8 is Jailbreak Part 2. I'm like, oh, God.
It happens.
I'm like, it got through everyone's eyes reading this. I mean, I paid for a proofreader. If you ever saw my English without it being, oh my God, you'd take AI over my normal writing. So, but I'm like, all these eyes saw it and no one saw that. As in size 18 font. And no, just.
I mean, there's always going to be something that slips through, though. It's never going to. I mean, I remember the first time I read Red Rising, and my copy had typos in it. Pierce Brown's about as big as you get.
Yep.
Generally speaking.
Oh. So, and my last question on the list that I'm going to actually ask you. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who says, Andrew, I want to be a booktuber too?
Sure. Go for it.
Anything to look out for?
I mean, there's something to be said about doing a whole bunch of research and trying to figure out what works and all that sort of stuff. The biggest step is actually getting in front of a camera and starting to talk. Because what it comes down to is it's you in a room by yourself trying to have a conversation with the community who is not directly in front of you. And then you've got to make it interesting.
Oh, that's hard.
And so, I mean, one of the things, because I've got around 800, I think I'm approaching 900 videos on my channel. And something that I like to do is I like to reference I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. Is referencing either current content that I've recently released or old videos that I know I've released, so that I can then kind of have people go back around and see some of my older stuff and still kind of push some book reviews that maybe have gotten buried in 900 videos, 900-ish videos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how many videos do you produce a week?
If I go live, it's more than 7. If I don't, it's 7.
7. So
Yeah, 2
okay.
regular uploads and then 5 shorts.
So what? 14. Let's say 16 weeks. You should be hitting 1,000 then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. Are we going to do anything for our 1,000th episode?
I don't know. I've kind of just started writing the wave a little bit of just kind of like, hey, this is working right now. I'm in a good mental place. I'm in a good reading place. I don't try and get too. There were times where I tried to do giveaways that fell flat on its face. I would try and incentivize people to subscribe. That only ever half works. And it's just kind of, I don't know. One time for, what was that? Was that my 5,000? I've made myself very sick trying to celebrate certain things with spicy food. I did the 1 chip challenge. That was fine. A week later, I did a little nitro, and I spent 3 hours hugging a toilet, heaving up my guts.
Nice. I
No,
did see that.
no, it wasn't nice.
Well, for the viewers.
No, I didn't throw up on camera. I ended
right.
up live streaming very quickly.
No, I like when I see people suffer. This is what makes me happy. I went to Catholic school for 12 years, so that's me. I did see the spicy wings that you and AR Witham did.
Yeah, that was an accident. We were supposed to do a gradient, and then I just got the most extreme one for all 10.
Nice.
And then yeah, just kind of went with it. I don't know if you've watched Hot Ones on YouTube. Do you watch that?
No.
It's an interview show with music musicians, actors, athletes, stuff like that, very famous people. And it's increasingly hotter wings right up until the hottest pepper commercial available on the market. And I've done the hottest sauce that they do. But one that always took people out was called Da Bomb. I had a coworker bring in a bottle of Da Bomb at my previous job. It was probably 2018. And me and him just passed the bottle back and forth. We were just taking dabs of it. And it wasn't that bad. Like I liked it. I liked the sauce, and everybody says that the sauce is terrible. And it never bugged me. I actually liked it. I thought it was a little bit smoky. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a food review of a sauce I had 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh no, I love hot sauces. So
yeah,
I actually traded my books to a guy who was selling hot sauces at a Comic-Con. I don't know why he thought that was a great idea, but so I traded him 4 books for 5 hot sauces, and he had the Carolina Reaper and Blueberry.
Nice.
Because he said he tried the Carolina Reaper. He goes, I thought there were some floral notes there before my tongue, was incinerated. So
the one time I've had Carolina Reaper sauce, I ate it, was fine, ate some more because I thought it was really good, was fine, ate some more, again, thought I was fine. I drove home, got home, and immediately felt like someone just hit me right in the gut. And I doubled over, and then for like 40 minutes, I was just like, ugh. Like I wasn't nauseous, it just hurt. Like I was just having cramps.
The stuff he gave me, I was like, okay, I'm going to try your hottest sauce because, most people say it's hot, and I'm like, that's ketchup. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. So I tried that, and I tasted, I'm like, okay, yeah, I tasted blueberries, and I was like, oh, no, there's some heat. Oh, there's some heat. Oh, it's still coming. But it's like a 4-second delay.
Before I met Nico, he had told me that he had made homemade hot sauce during lockdown. And so I was like, do you mind if I get some of that? And so he mailed me like 3 bottles of hot sauce. It's great. I keep telling him he needs to get back to it.
Nice. Oh, so what do we have to look forward to this summer? Anything exciting happening in the Wizard household?
Going on some short weekend trips. Not anything other than that. Not really. I've just kind of keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Reading books. Hello, sir. Hold on. I've been infiltrated. Come here, sir. You aren't supposed to be in here. Don't. Yeah. Go see your mother. Okay, sorry.
I don't know that I've seen your son before. I've seen your daughter a bunch of times, but
Oh yeah, he likes to. So I've got a curtain that covers my recording area and my in-home work office, and he just rips it aside and like just comes in and he jumps on my extra chair and he likes to rock in it. It's like a posture correcting chair just because I'm always sitting down.
yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is. It's fun.
No. Well,
Come on, what you got for me? I know Chris had a question. He wanted to know if I had a white whale that I was chasing.
I missed that one.
Yeah, he says, is there a book that's your white whale? As in you can't find the physical copy and I want it.
There it is. I totally missed that, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember saying it. I don't know if I have a white whale per se. I've got a very good collection that I'm very proud of. I would probably like either the original hardcovers of that is it. The broken binding editions of the is it Faithful and the Fallen? That Broken Binding did about 3 years ago. And they weren't commercially available in the US. And so I wasn't able to buy them. Like I literally was restricted from buying them. And now they go for like $1,000 if they ever hit the market at all, which is like $250 a book for what is essentially a standard hardcover that has a sprayed edge and is just signed by the author. It's not leather. Oh, excuse me. It's not leather bound or anything like that. It's not gilded edges with sewn in ribbons and illustrations and numbered. None of that. People are just, I don't know. People are greedy.
I don't know. I have zero. I mean, for sprayed edges, does not mean anything to me. I don't know what the craze is, but I think I'm in the very small minority there.
One of the cool things that I recently got, even though you don't care, is I got this in. And what's cool about this is it looks gilded.
Yep.
But it's got 2 different 4-edge paintings.
Ah, okay. That's neat. I do like that.
Oh, there we go. So I love that. And the way that it was achieved was just genius. You can kind of see here that there's a strip. I don't know if I can make it. So you see how when I lift that page up, there's like a strip of art.
Ah, okay.
I was wondering how they were going to, because when it was listed as a perk on the Kickstarter, I was just like, how are you going to manage that for all the copies you're about to send out? And what they did is they just took the image, and they cut it up into thin little strips, and they put it on the edge of the bed, on the edge of the page.
Nice.
So, yeah, it is a sweet book. It was my 2021 book of the year, I believe. Dragon Mage. It's got an autistic protagonist. It's very, very good. There's some rough spots where I'm just like, that didn't make sense. Other than that, though, I really enjoy it. It was a solid read. Very good. I'm still waiting on book 2.
Is that out yet?
Nope. There was a delay last year. I think the author was having some personal issues or something like that, and she let everybody know, hey, it's going to take a little bit longer. I was like, that's fine. Like, whatever. As long as I get it someday, because it was written to be a standalone, so it stands on its own.
Right.
But then she was like, I'm going to do a sequel, and then the sequel got delayed. So it's just one of those.
Well, at least it's not a cliffhanger. You're like still waiting for what happens next.
Yeah. Kind of want to see the evolution of the storylines and the characters and everything that kind of goes into it.
Which actually, if I read a book and it ends in a cliffhanger, you are dead to me. I will not read anything else by you. Because my thing is, if I buy a book, I get a complete story. I get a beginning, a middle, and end. And if you just cut it off and like, no, you have to buy the next book to find out what happens. Like, no, I don't.
I don't know if if it comes from an author that I trust, and I know they're already working on it, or it's either already out. I don't mind it so much. But
well, I have told people in the past, before I ever thought I was ever going to be a writer, the things that I would do to deduct stars from reviews or DNF and the stupid stuff that I'm like, I'm so embarrassed to say this out loud. And if I had sense, I would not. But yeah, if there was 2 typos in a book, that was automatically cost you a star.
yeah, I don't count typos unless it's egregious.
And I'm like, God, if I did that with mine, I'd be giving myself 1 or 2 stars. So,
Really?
Well, at least when it first came out.
I DNF based off of vibe. If I'm not jiving with the book and it's giving me a bad vibe, or I'm not liking the prose or anything like that, I DNF very quickly. There was one called Shield Maidens. And at the bottom of the first page, it mentioned this young woman's time of the month. I immediately just shut the book and was just like, if you're going to put that on page 1, I'm not the target audience for this. And I got rid of it.
Yep.
I'm here for a story. I'm not here to learn about. I've been fully educated. I was there when my kids were born. I know how all of that works. No thanks.
What's this? DNF based on first sentence.
Done that.
Oh, yeah. I am very bad with DNFing, and my rule is I will not read a book that's over 500 pages now.
Why?
I do not have the patience, and if I get the audiobook, I'm like 20 hours. That's a big commitment. I don't want to waste 20 hours. What if I don't like it like midway through?
Oh, I don't know. I tend to find that if it starts quality, 9 times out of 10, it will end in quality.
Yeah, I mean,
I've rarely read a whole book and gotten to the end and been like, oh, man, that last 10% really ruined it for me. Now, it has happened. I'm looking at you, First Law, book number 3, Last Argument of Kings.
Ugh, don't even get me started on First Law. If there was a plot anywhere in that series, I would love it.
I didn't even mind that. It was just, okay, we've reached the end. We've got a very good ending. Okay, I'm going to keep writing until everybody and everything sucks. Let's extinguish all happiness that we've garnered throughout this trilogy, and let's just ruin it all. Because I'm clever.
I was on a panel once with another author, and he said, I had a person come up to you and said, you write first person present tense, so I know nothing can ever happen to the protagonist. And he's like, challenge accepted. And he's like, I've written 8 books now, and in 3 of them, the protagonist dies, but I'm not telling you which ones. And I was just like, that is so cool. I still want to do that now.
I would recommend you, yes, Logan Nine Fingers is an amazing character.
Yep.
It's part of the reason why I love Red Country. But let's see. What am I? Where was my brain going? Christopher Beuman's The Lesser Dead. You should read that.
Okay. I've not read anything by Beuman. Well, I can say that about so many.
It's fine. I'm also autistic. It's fine.
So that was the one thing that it took me when I first started watching. Yours was probably the first show I started watching religiously of booktubers.
Was what?
Was your show, your reviews?
Really?
Yeah. And the one thing that I had to learn, it took me like 6 months, was you don't have to go chase every single book he mentions.
No, don't do that.
So now I'm like, okay, that's good. Wizard likes it. Maybe someday I'll have an encounter with it, but I'm not going to go straight to Amazon and purchase.
I did that. I did that with Mike for probably 4 or 5 months, and I don't own a lot of those books anymore.
Ugh. I'm drawing a blank now.
It happens.
Booktuber. Ryan is his last name. He's in your Discord.
His last name?
I think isn't God. What he's from Chicago area. He runs marathons. At least I think he was once in. I can't remember. He loves
Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I swear every time I watch him, like, man, everything he likes, I liked. I mean, he is just perfect.
Patrick's a good dude.
Yep. I was like, man, I can't wait. And I sent him my book, and he's like, 3 stars. I'm not going to read anymore. And I was like, well, everything you like, I like, but apparently it doesn't go the other way. So, yeah, but that was like, wasn't expecting that, but oh well.
Let's see. Catherine Wizard has reviewing books on YouTube. This long changed which books you'll pick up. Do you take YouTube quality into consideration? Can you clarify what YouTube quality is? No, I pick up the books that I think I'm going to have fun with. I do let myself be influenced from time to time by somebody else's reviews. But no, I wouldn't say, like, I will remove a book from my TBR if I think a review has convinced me not to read it. Let's see, as in content less likely to be flagged. Oh, I don't give a flying fig about the algorithm all that much. I'll do the top 10 stuff, or I'll do top 10 lists, or I'll make a catchy title to hope that it'll snag the algorithm, but it doesn't influence the book that I'm going to read. I read a lot of indie fantasy, and indie does not tend to perform well within the YouTube algorithm. It does okay, but it's not anything. It's not Jim Butcher. It's not George R. Martin. It's not Cosmere. So yeah, I've got probably 2.5 shelves worth of indie in total out of all of these. 2.5. I don't know. My indie used to all be collected into 2 shelves, and then I couldn't make my design aesthetic work anymore, so I just broke it all apart and scattered it throughout. And just commingled the traditional and the indie. So, yeah, no, I read a lot of indie, and indie does fair to middling in terms of views and clickability.
So I have a question for you. Because when I start writing my series, I was like, you know what? Everyone does dragons. I'm not going to do any dragons. I refuse.
Okay.
And then I went further. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have just humans, not even going to have any fantastical races. And then the second book I wrote has a centaur on the cover.
Yeah.
And the fourth one has a dragon. Do you have to have fantastical creatures? Is it, if it's all human, is that fine? Does it matter?
When I was younger, I believe a series, mainly because he was so freaking proud of it, I would have never noticed if he hadn't said something about it. That's Terry Goodkind's Wizard's First Rule. I've read that book 4 or 5 times. I really enjoyed it right up until I found out that the author was just a prick. So no, it doesn't have to have necessarily fantasy creatures. As long as it's got like magic or something, or it's got good. Really, all I need is good characterization. Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky, I don't believe has any fantasy creatures. It's just basically Regency. What am I looking for? What's the name of that series? Band of Brothers type of deal.
Oh, Band of Brothers is great. But
thanks. The longer I do YouTube, the more blunt I get.
That's true in life too, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite subgenre of fantasy?
Oh, I can tell you it's not Dragon Rider. I'm over Dragon Rider fantasy at this point. I'm fairly over it. I just DNF Temeraire at book 3, so I like fantasy westerns. I like epic fantasy. I like steampunk fantasy. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting. I like nautical
Grimdark?
fantasy.
Grimdark? Yay, nay, eh.
I've got it in the mood at this point. There was so much grimdark for such like a concentrated period of time that something grimdark has to be truly exceptional to catch my interest at this point. I'm kind of just when it calls to me, I reach for it, but till then, like I want to read something fun, which is kind of why I've been doing a lot of like Royal Road stuff, cultivation, progression, game lit, sword and sorcery, political fantasy, right here.
Yep.
This, I mean, I guess I could say I read this within this month. Is A City of Songs by Anthony Ryan. It's a darker fantasy. I don't know if I would say it's grim dark. And then I read Rune Lords, which is also a dark fantasy this month. It's got a very dark magic system.
Interesting. So for me, I read fantasy like nonstop for 20 years, and then I kind of took a break. And now if I read a book, I'm like, yeah, this is standard fantasy. I'm like, that's not going to do it. You have to wow me with something. Because I'm like, I've read fantasy. I know how it ends. I know how fantasy ends. So you got to do something.
Yeah. Caden Love.
Oh, that's Vineyard of a Fragmented Mind is his
book. I don't have that one yet.
Caden,
I've heard of it.
Caden looks like he's about 18 years old. And we had him on the show with Ro and I was just like, oh my goodness, I feel so old.
You told me you didn't talk to anybody under 30.
I didn't know that's why he's on the show. So, we hit him off. That's what we do. So very dark magic system in Caden.
When it comes to
wow,
say what?
It's hard to believe. Caden is about the most likable, friendly, wonderful person. I can't believe he has a dark. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to really classic fantasy, like formulaic classic fantasy, and like, oh, we're gonna start out in a village and we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do this. I do, and then if you throw in a dragon rider, you lose me fairly quickly. One of the funniest things that's ever happened to me on YouTube is I was brought on to Mike's book reviews celebration channel for I think his 100K, and Mike was trying to be clever when he was bringing on Ryan Cahill. And he was like, what do you think of this series? And I gave him my honest opinion. And then he just brings on Ryan. And I see him, and they think I haven't noticed. And I was like, well, I'm not just going to like act like I've been talking about Ryan behind his back. So I just kept talking. And like that was his introduction into the live stream. And I love Ryan Cahill, though. He's like an amazing individual. He's a very sweet human being. But he knows that, I don't particularly care for The Bound and the Broken.
I got like a third of the way through that, and I'm like, no, sorry.
I've read book 1 twice because everybody kept telling me how amazing it was, and I just wasn't getting it. And so I read it twice, and I read The Fall twice, and then I said, you know what? I think I'm good. I gave it more than its fair shot.
Yep.
It just wasn't my cup of tea. That's fine. He's got tons of great success, and I'm very happy that he has that. He deserves it. He puts in a lot of work, and yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've always been. If you don't like my work, okay, that's fine. What I was watching The Beard of Darkness when he interviewed Raymond Feist, and Raymond Feist said, "That's why Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors."
Raymond E. Feist is a really cool dude.
Yeah. So
very interesting guy.
But yeah, let's see. Well, sir, we've been at it almost an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there any really insightful thing that I didn't ask you that you like to share with the crowd?
I'm so tired I couldn't tell you if I had anything in my brain or not.
Okay.
I'm fairly brain dead at this particular juncture.
You
Card
didn't seem
cutting
like,
will do that to you.
you didn't seem like you're a little low in the gas tank. But hey.
I'm usually more sugared up.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
those carbohydrates in my bloodstream, and I don't have those anymore.
Oh, God. Is life worth living?
I mean, yes, I've got 2 kids and a wife,
Fair.
and
Okay. I mean, I
got
always tell
books to
people,
read, and
I'm an introvert working on his way to becoming a hermit. So,
yeah.
it's a little different. I did want to ask you, there was some indie authors, at least, were talking about trying to go to Worldcon next year if it's in Seattle. Are you going to any Comic-Cons, big, small, or indifferent?
I don't know. Traveling is expensive. The economy is not conducive to spending all that much money right now.
Yeah.
So I can't promise that I'm
Is there
going to
some,
be there.
if you could go to a Comic-Con and you didn't have to worry about the money or the time or vacation or whatever, so when do
yeah,
you go to?
if enough people show up at the Seattle thing, I would love to. I love hanging out with people. So,
but is there
I'd love to go to Dragon Con, Jordan Con. What's Sanderson's one?
Dragon Steel?
Dragon Steel, that could be cool, especially if I could walk away with leather bounds. But yeah, no, it's just kind of it is what it is.
Okay, well, sir, thank you for an interesting evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and if you would help me, I do want this tattoo.
Okay, you know what? I think I can run a small campaign in my Discord and see what I can't get done.
Okay, and if you want, I'll even send you the picture.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, sure.
So I honestly do want this, but if it's up to me, I'll be like, yeah, I should get that, or I could just stay home and not talk to people. So
either one works.
So unless something happens to force me to go out of the house, I'm not going to. So
I don't get out that much either. Don't worry.
You have an excuse though.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait until your kids get older and decide to start playing sports.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
So, or ballet recitals, or what have you.
I could see that happening very easily.
Oh well, thank you, sir. We're going to call it a night. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it was fun.
And tomorrow night, everyone, EL is going to be here and see if he gets banned while he's actually the camera's on his face.
Nice.
And we'll actually see what he looks like in person and not just his icon that he uses everywhere.
I'm sure he's a gorgeous devil.
So anyway, let's call it there. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty.
See you next time.
See ya.
And I hit end.